The United States economy, historically a beacon of prosperity and innovation, now stands at a precipice. With its characteristic mix of drama and irony, the current economic climate reflects a nation grappling with challenges that threaten to redefine its global standing. As Americans from Denver to Tucson rally to voice their discontent with the policies of the Trump administration, the streets echo with calls for justice, fairness, and accountability. The affluent continue to thrive, but the increasing gap between the rich and the poor has left many questioning the very fabric of American society. The reality of a potential severe economic recession looms large, with inflation rates soaring and the GDP showing signs of contraction. For those living paycheck to paycheck, the specter of an economic downturn is not just a distant worry, it's a daily struggle. Imagine the frustration of working tirelessly, only to see wages stagnate while the cost of basic goods and services climbs ever higher. This is the harsh truth facing many Americans today, a reality that cannot be ignored. As President Trump enjoys the sun at Mar-a-Lago, the U.S. economy is clouded by uncertainty. Experts from J.P. Morgan have sounded alarms, warning that the continuation of tariff-heavy protectionist policies could lead to a significant slowdown. Over the next decade or so, the U.S. risks ceding its technological and manufacturing leadership to strategic competitors like Japan, the EU, and China. The implications of such a shift are profound, potentially relegating the U.S. to a secondary role in global trade and technology. This economic weakening has galvanized the American populace, igniting a powerful wave of resistance. Their protests are not mere acts of defiance, but cries for substantial change. But will the government heed these calls before the situation becomes irreversible? As the economic strain becomes intolerable, Americans are pouring into the streets, their numbers swelling from 35,000 in Denver to a turnout 8 times larger than expected in Tucson. Their message is unequivocal. A nation governed by billionaires is not acceptable. They demand a government that prioritizes the many over the few. These protests are not confined to urban centers. They resonate across rural areas, industrial zones, and educational institutions, highlighting the widespread nature of the discontent. The voices rising in unison are those of citizens directly impacted by economic decisions that have favored the powerful at the expense of the many. The government must listen to them or risk facing an unstoppable wave of uprising. The economic decline has led to a dramatic shift in public sentiment. Even those who once rallied under the Make America Great Again banner are turning away from Trump, disillusioned by policies that have led to economic turmoil. This crisis is not limited to a single demographic. It is a nationwide economic and social crisis affecting communities across America. Local governments face immense challenges as former Trump supporters demand action. These citizens, disillusioned by broken promises, are no longer silent. They demand that the government implement policies to prevent further deterioration and restore public trust. If the administration fails to act swiftly, the situation may become irreparable, leading to a loss of support from those who once believed in its message. The American people are at a crossroads faced with the question, can they rise up and change the course? Will unity in the face of adversity pave the way for a brighter future? Stock markets and cryptocurrencies are in freefall, with millions losing their jobs. These economic crises, born from a series of chaotic policies, are unfolding before our eyes. Yet many remain unaware of their full impact. From controversial tariffs to erratic economic strategies, the U.S. economy bears the brunt of these decisions. The instability is shaking the trust and stability that Americans spent decades building. With tariffs in place, the economy teeters, affecting both large and small businesses, which face rising costs and supply chain disruptions. Unemployment is rising, especially in rural states where Trump once enjoyed robust support. These families, who once harbored hopes for a prosperous future, now witness their dreams slipping away. Who suffers most from these policies? Ironically, it's the very people who voted for Trump: farmers, veterans, and rural communities. These loyal supporters now face budget cuts, loss of health care benefits, and mass bankruptcies, paying the ultimate price for the administration's reckless decisions. It's not just their jobs at stake. It's the very foundation of the lives they've built. The economic catastrophe facing Donald Trump is unprecedented. Unemployment claims have surged to 242,000 as businesses shutter and consumer confidence plummets. The real estate market is collapsing, and even Trump's staunchest supporters are questioning his leadership. Yet instead of solutions, Trump seems to prioritize his political gain. Last week's spike in unemployment claims far exceeded expert forecasts, marking a deepening economic crisis. Major companies like Domino's, Krispy Kreme, and Bed Bath & Beyond have closed multiple locations to cut costs. The tech, retail, and finance sectors are shedding jobs at alarming rates. WPP, the world's largest advertising group, lost 16% of its market value in a single day, reflecting widespread financial instability. The rising unemployment isn't the only issue. As incomes decline, consumer spending retracts, leading to business losses, more layoffs, and a dangerous recession cycle. If the government fails to implement urgent relief measures, the U.S. could plunge into a full-scale economic depression. The labor market's collapse has eroded consumer confidence to a 10-year low. As Americans tighten their belts, businesses suffer. Amazon, Walmart, and Target report significant revenue drops, and thousands of small retailers have permanently closed. The stagnation in the manufacturing sector leads to production cutbacks and factory closures. This slowdown reverberates through global supply chains, creating a vicious cycle of economic decline. If unchecked, the U.S. could face a consumer recession where spending halts, businesses fail, and the economy grinds to a halt. But what is Trump's plan? Astonishingly, he has none. Instead, his focus remains on fundraising for himself, with campaign emails begging supporters to save America through donations. These funds, however, aren't directed towards economic recovery or aid for struggling Americans, but rather towards rallies, legal bills, and self-promotion. Even Trump's loyalists are beginning to question his true intentions. Why doesn't he offer a real economic plan? Why deflect blame onto the Biden administration without providing solutions? It's not the first time Trump has exploited his supporters' loyalty, but with the economy in freefall, how long will Americans tolerate his empty promises? If job losses and consumer panic weren't enough, the U.S. housing market is spiraling towards disaster. Home sales have plummeted, mortgage rates have soared, and rent prices have skyrocketed, making home ownership a distant dream for many. This housing crisis could trigger a chain reaction: tightened credit, mass foreclosures, and potentially a 2008-style financial crash. The critical question remains: will the government intervene before it's too late? The political battle between Trump and Hollywood continues unabated. In 2017, Meryl Streep, while accepting the Cecil B. DeMille Award, used her Golden Globes platform to criticize Trump, particularly for mocking a disabled reporter. Her speech highlighted the negative influence of public figures who dehumanize others, resonating with many who expected a different kind of presidential leadership. Naturally, Trump responded swiftly on Twitter, labeling Streep as overrated. His tirade only fueled public support for Streep, exemplifying his tendency to escalate tensions rather than diffuse them. Meanwhile, the relationship between Donald and Melania Trump remains a subject of intrigue. Despite her role as First Lady, Melania has often maintained a low profile, fueling speculation about their relationship. Reports of her delayed move to the White House and her absence from political rallies have only added to the mystery. The infamous jacket with the message, "I really don't care, do you?" worn during a visit to a migrant child detention center, became symbolic of insensitivity and challenged public opinion. This moment, among others, damaged Melania's image, raising questions about her awareness and sensitivity to critical issues. Melania's Be Best initiative, aimed at combating online bullying, stands in a stark contrast to her husband's frequent Twitter attacks. The irony of her campaign underscores the contradictions within the Trump administration. While Melania calls for kindness, Donald's rhetoric often incites division. The battles between Trump and Hollywood, in the enigmatic silence of Melania, invite speculation about long-term strategies we may not yet fully understand. Could Melania's quiet demeanor be part of a broader plan, or is it simply a reflection of her personal stance? As political tensions and economic uncertainties unfold, the irony of the situation is not lost on Americans. The administration's tariff policies, intended to protect the U.S. economy have drawn sharp criticism from economists. Trump's 200% tariffs on European goods, including champagne, have hit American consumers hard. The irony of celebrating with overpriced champagne in a struggling economy is not lost on anyone. Experts argue that these tariffs, rather than providing long-term benefits, have destabilized the market, caused economic slowdown, and driven inflation. While the goal was to boost domestic production, the short-term impacts have reduced competitiveness in global markets. Trump's promises of lowering fuel prices and living costs have faced significant challenges. Inflation and rising consumer goods costs exert pressure on citizens and businesses alike. The stock market's volatility and the ongoing trade war have created a climate of uncertainty. Despite the intent to reduce reliance on foreign goods, the tariffs have led to increased prices and reduced purchasing power. For small businesses, the rising costs of raw materials have eroded profits and market share. The long-term impact of these decisions remains uncertain, but the immediate effects are clear. Consumers pay more and businesses struggle to stay afloat. As the nation grapples with these issues, we invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about the current economic policies? Do you believe the U.S. can recover from this situation? Your opinion matters, and we encourage you to join the conversation. While you're here, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more in-depth analyses and updates on the latest news. Your engagement helps us bring you the content you care about, so hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching, and we're eager to hear from you. The irony of the current economic and political landscape in the United States cannot be overstated. As the nation contemplates its future, questions loom about the effectiveness of policies and the intentions behind them. The ongoing trade war with the European Union, marked by steep tariffs, has not only strained international relations, but also placed a financial burden on American consumers. The decision to impose a 200% tariff on European goods, including luxury items like champagne, appears to be a move at odds with the administration's promises to lower living costs. Instead, it has exacerbated economic challenges, contributing to rising inflation and market instability. Critics, including top economists from CNBC, S&P, and Dow Jones, have been vocal in their opposition to these policies. They argue that the tariffs are fueling economic uncertainty, slowing growth, and driving up prices. The intended benefit of protecting domestic industries seems overshadowed by the immediate drawbacks of increased consumer costs and reduced purchasing power. Small businesses in particular struggle to cope with the rising costs of raw materials, threatening their profitability and competitiveness. The goal of boosting domestic production is laudable, but the path taken has led to short-term instability and raised questions about the long-term viability of such strategies. As the U.S. economy navigates these turbulent waters, the promises made by the administration face scrutiny. While unemployment rates have remained relatively low, the broader economic picture is less rosy. Inflation, coupled with the rising cost of consumer goods, presents significant challenges for both citizens and businesses. The stock market's fluctuations and the ongoing trade conflict contribute to an atmosphere of uncertainty, casting doubt on the future. The tariffs, aimed at reducing reliance on foreign goods, have instead led to increased prices for imported items, affecting consumer spending and business operations. For consumers, the impact is direct and tangible. The cost of imported products, particularly from Europe, has risen sharply due to the tariffs. Items like steel, aluminum, and even everyday luxuries such as champagne have become more expensive, diminishing purchasing power. This in turn affects spending capacity, leading to a ripple effect throughout the economy. Small businesses, already operating on thin margins, find it increasingly difficult to maintain profitability as production costs rise. The competitive market landscape exacerbates these challenges as businesses strive to protect their market share while facing mounting financial pressures. The irony of celebrating with overpriced champagne amid economic hardship is not lost on the American public. As the administration touts the benefits of its trade policies, the reality for many is a struggle to make ends meet. The disconnect between policy intentions and outcomes highlights the complexities of economic governance. While the aim of reducing foreign reliance and encouraging domestic growth is commendable, The approach has led to unintended consequences that complicate the economic landscape. In this climate of uncertainty, it's crucial to consider the broader implications of these decisions. The long-term impact of the trade policies remains to be seen, but the immediate effects are evident. Consumers are paying more, businesses are facing increased costs, and the economy is grappling with instability. As the nation looks to the future, the question remains, how will these challenges be addressed, and what path will lead to sustainable growth and prosperity? We invite you to share your thoughts on these pressing issues. What do you think about the current economic strategies? Are the tariffs justified, or do they represent a misguided approach? Your insights and opinions are valuable, and we encourage you to join the discussion in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more expert analyses and updates on the latest developments. Your participation helps us continue to provide content that matters to you. So like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful coverage. Thank you for your engagement, and we look forward to hearing your perspectives. Despite the substantial challenges facing the U.S. economy, it's crucial to examine the broader context and potential pathways to recovery. The complex interplay of policy decisions, market dynamics, and international relationships demands a nuanced understanding of the current situation. While the administration's tariff policies have been a focal point of controversy, they are but one piece of a larger puzzle that includes domestic economic policies, global economic trends, and the shifting landscape of international trade. The imposition of tariffs on European goods, though intended to protect American industries, has sparked a debate about the effectiveness and consequences of such measures. The immediate impact on consumers, who face higher prices for imported goods, highlights the trade-offs inherent in protectionist strategies. While some domestic industries may benefit from reduced competition, the overall effect on the economy can be mixed, with increased costs potentially outweighing the benefits. In analyzing the situation, it's important to consider the role of global economic forces. The interconnectedness of modern economies means that policies in one country can have far-reaching implications. The US-EU trade tensions, for example, are part of a broader trend of rising protectionism worldwide. As nations grapple with the challenges of globalization, finding a balance between protecting domestic interests and engaging in international trade is a complex endeavor. The economic challenges facing the U.S. are compounded by internal issues such as income inequality, stagnant wages, and the rising cost of living. These factors contribute to a sense of economic insecurity for many Americans, who feel left behind in an economy that seems to favor the wealthy. Addressing these concerns requires a multifaceted approach that includes policy reforms, investment in education and infrastructure, and efforts to enhance economic mobility. In the face of these challenges, there are opportunities for innovation and growth. The U.S. has a history of resilience and adaptability, driven by its entrepreneurial spirit and capacity for technological advancement. By investing in research and development, supporting small businesses, and fostering a climate of innovation, the nation can build a more sustainable and inclusive economy. As we consider the path forward, it's essential to engage in constructive dialogue about the policies and strategies that will shape the future. The questions we face are complex, and there are no easy answers. However, by fostering collaboration and open discussion, we can work towards solutions that benefit all Americans. We invite you to join this conversation. What are your thoughts on the current economic policies and their impact on the U.S. economy? How can we balance protectionism with the need for global engagement? Your insights are vital, and we encourage you to share your perspectives in the comments below. If you find our analysis valuable, consider subscribing to our channel for more in-depth coverage and updates on the latest economic developments. Your support enables us to continue providing content that informs and engages. So like, comment, and subscribe for more expert insights. Thank you for being part of our community, and we look forward to hearing your thoughts on the path to economic recovery and growth.